Hey there. How are you doing today? Well, right here it's 7 p.m. CT here in Barcelona, Spain, and yeah, let's just wait for a, a few others to join, okay, and then we can start. I already see two people here. Come say hi. Also, don't forget to engage in the comment section. Okay, like I'm gonna start talking, but like the more questions there are, like the more we can interact as well. Okay, so yeah, let's um let's start here. Okay. So today we're going to outline, our process, and why it's important to start at a specific date, and all the key steps that we go through with the students, okay? So time and key step for the student process, okay? Well, I like to start always the calls with a bit about us. So we connect international and domestic players with Collegiate Esports directors in the US and Canada. We currently work with students from 12 different countries in 8 different video games, okay? And we're the largest agency for international students to send to US and Canada for esports players, coaches, and content creators, okay? Um, so let's start. Okay, so it's super important, and that we communicate to students, like when is the ideal time to start, and talking about international students, it's super important, depending on the level of English, we need to do some pre-university exams, be the Duolingo, the TOEFL, or the SAT. Some students, it happens more like with ex-pro players or current pro players that they didn't finish high school. So we also have to do the GED with them. Okay, so that can take from 3 to 6 months or on average. Okay, so like the timings depends really on, it's more of a student by student case. Okay. Also, if they want to do a master's, some universities, if they want to do an MBA, for example, some universities do require the GMAT. Okay, so the GMAT is also an exam that they have to prepare, and we also help them with that. But like, it's not that straightforward to just go in 1 or 2 months to the US. Okay, because also the admissions visa process takes their time. Okay, but today we are going to go over the exam preparation with the students, the placement, the admissions process, and the visa process, and the support that we do with them while they are at university. Okay. Any questions up to here? Come on, guys. I want you to engage more. As if not, it's like me talking to myself for like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. Okay. If you guys are shy, okay. So let's start. Well, first of all, I want to start with the exam preparation. So as I mentioned, through the past 3 years, most universities are accepting Duolingo. Okay, so it's an online English exam. You take a few practice tests, $65. You get the results in 2 days. Okay, it's way easier than back then. 14 years ago when I graduated from the US. Well, and a bit longer when I went to the US, I had to do the TOEFL exam and the SAT. I had to do it in person. Okay, SAT was 4 times a year. The TOEFL was 1 time a month. Like the costs were way higher. So it was a bit like the barrier, like the friction was higher. Not nowadays for pre-university exams. It's way easier if you already have your high school. Okay, and in every country it's called different. In Spain it's bachillerato. In the Nordic countries it's called gymnasium, and so on. Okay, but yeah, and well, as I also mentioned, some students will not always have their high school, or are going to finish their high school, so they quit high school a few years ago, and so like we have to do the GD, and for master students, most of the time we also have to do the GMAT. Okay, depends on what university you go to, and also like what you end up studying. Okay, so that being said, university placement. Okay, regarding university placement, okay, we have a very personalized process. That's what sets us apart from everyone, is that we do like weekly calls with the students, okay, to discuss current offers, offers that we're negotiating, next steps. Okay, we also send a thread of emails to students, like what questions in the academic side, the esports side, the internship side, the post graduation side, you know, like what questions to ask the esports directors or the head coach. So like they're the ones that engaging in the call. It's not the esports director starting the call, like making the 10 to 15 intro about their program, and then, you know, do you have any questions? It's like the students from minute one. Okay, like having like we also show them like how to, you know, explore the program so they come prepared for the call. So it's them asking the questions and it's the esports director answering, which it usually is what esports director want, you know, like students to be engaged. Okay. Then we also have weekly reports every Friday. Okay, like written down like the offers, like what we've been working on. Okay, so it's very like weekly by weekly basis, and in all the calls, it's either me or some of my co-workers, okay, that are always present with the student in the calls with the esports director. Okay, so that means that if a student, well, his level of English or her level of English is not that great, or they get stuck, you know, in something, okay, we're there first of all to make the intro smoother and to be there for them in the call. And if we think that they missed a really important question, we're there to, you know, ask a question for the esports director so they can answer like the student. Okay, so it's a ongoing personalized process, that it's not only just connecting the student with the program and that's it, and then having a conversation. Okay, because most of the time, like the student doesn't understand the language that, you know, about like the scholarship, you know, total tuition costs and housing, food, and all the fees involved. Okay, so like we try to simplify everything to the student. Okay, so yeah, so the student and the family, you know, like actually know how much they're gonna have to invest per year after scholarship. Okay, and yeah, for domestic students, let's say US students, you guys have also access to FAFSA. Okay, also student loans, and well, if you're in the army, well, you have other advantages too, and some universities, you know, really support that, so you can eventually get your studies paid for. Okay, guys, any questions up to here about university placement? No? Okay, let's continue then. Then comes the admissions process. Okay, so every university, when I was working for 4.5 years in traditional sports, okay, like the recruitment process was way simpler. Okay, like we had the profile, what the coaches were looking for. Okay, and basically the information was way clear, and the coaches knew like how to handle more budget. Okay, with esports directors or head coaches, every university has their own system. Okay, some universities are like, apply first, then I'll see what I can give you. Okay, some universities that we work with are like a very similar to traditional sports. Okay, you have GPA, you have the you know, the competitive experience of the player, all the trackers involved and everything. Okay, what they want to study, and you can, you know, like actually they can actually give you an exact amount that what they can expect to pay. okay, but of course they first have to apply and be accepted for all the scholarships to apply, okay. But either we have to apply first with the students and then have a call with the esports director, or we can have a call with the esports director straight away, okay, and the esports director can tell them what they can do for them in terms of scholarship, okay. As I always mentioned on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and in many calls, is the smoother the recruiting process in esports programs are, the more likely the students are to choose them. Okay, because there's programs that take for ages in terms of tryouts, applying, figuring out X or Y. So like the smoother the recruitment process is, well, the more the student is likely to go there. Okay. Then what on the international student side? Okay, when we apply, okay, we work with different companies in terms of the translation and conversion. Okay, if it's international students from an English speaking country, we use one company for the great translations to be um, to be basically accepted by the university. And if they're international students from a non-speaking English country, we use another company to do the translation and the conversion of the grades, because it's from their country to the GPA version. Okay, so that would be like the conversion. For domestic students, we don't guide them in the admissions process. We just hide them in the placement process and follow a similar process, because we found out that domestic students don't gain any value from the exam preparation, because they already do it in high school, and the admissions visa process, like they're already like very familiarized and it's very straightforward. So like domestic students, we only do placement, and international students, we do offer the full process. Okay. Okay, guys, any questions? Okay, let's continue then. Okay. I see a lot of people connected, but I don't see any questions. Huh? Okay. Um, let's go now when the student is officially accepted, okay, and the scholarships are applied. Then we will do the bank statements, and well, we tell them what the bank statement has to have contained, so the process is way smoother, okay, and the families are less stressed, because international students, like, we work very closely with the families, okay. Domestic students are a bit more like free flow. We work entirely with the students, so it depends, but basically. But yeah, we got them in the bank statements, okay, and to make sure that they are eligible and that the university gives them the I-20. The I-20 is the document they will need to go to have the meeting, to apply for the meeting for the American embassy in their home country. Okay, so it's important to have everything right in the bank statement, so the university can verify that you and your family can, your family or yourself can take care of yourself if anything happens to you in the US. Okay. That being said, let's move to the visa process. Okay. So the visa process is after we are done with the admissions process, with the bank statement. This is not for domestic students; it's for international students specifically. Okay, for international students, once they have the I-20, okay, we guide it in every step of the process that they need to get to apply for the SEVIs and many other things in the process. But it's essential for them to get, accepted into a meeting in the U.S. Embassy in their home country. Okay, and we also prepare them for the calls with the U.S. Embassy. Okay, the questions that they're most likely to like the questions that the person in the U.S. Embassy is most likely to ask the students. Okay, so because I remember the first time well, the first time, my only time, I went to the U.S. Embassy to get my F1 student visa. Okay, I was super nervous, and they started asking questions about my parents and about me, and I'm like, I was shaking, and somehow, I got the visa accepted. But we make them, feel prepared, expect what questions they're gonna be asked. So when they go to the U.S. Embassy, like, they're more relaxed, and it's usually like similar, kind of the same questions that they ask to every student, and that takes, their nervousness away, kind of. Okay, so yeah, we do also guide them in all the visa process, and then, well, yeah, I will take the passport, stamp it, and stamp the F1 student visa, and then send it home, and then they're ready to go to the US, basically. Let's also move to the college support. Okay, college support as well is for international students mainly. Okay, we haven't had any domestic students need college support, but especially like all the personalized process that we do with the family. Usually, sometimes it's like minimum 6 months, sometimes a year and a half, and the family, like, ends up being like, okay, I'm gonna send my kid to another country, sometimes another continent. So if anything happens with, like, most of the families, English is not their first language, or they barely speak English. Okay, so if something happens to their kid in another continent, they're gonna freak out, and it may be like not something super big, something small, but like we've done it, we've solved it like hundreds of times. So like we're there always, to talk with the esports director, to the international student department from that university, and solve any issues that the student may have in their 4 years in the bachelor's, or in their master's, in their 2-year masters. But basically support if they, I don't know, increase their GPA and competitive level, and they want to transfer. Okay, we also help them with that. If they have any questions, and they cannot figure it out with their tutor about like class selection. Okay, if they can communicate with the esports director or don't know how, like, we have direct contact with the esports director, how to obtain your social security to work on campus, stuff like this, that many domestic students are like, why would I need this? Well, international students do need it because it's their first time in the US or in Canada. So yeah, it's super important that we also offer that service, and families, are more comfortable knowing that we're there if they need anything, so like the experience is very smooth. Okay, guys, so I guess there's no questions. I guess you guys understood everything super clearly. Yeah. Okay, so regarding timings, okay, when to start, what I mentioned at the beginning of the call, okay, was that every student is a unique case. Okay, not every student has the same budget, not every student has the same GPA, level of English, plays the same video game, has the same level, the same competitive level, wants to go to the same states, or the same universities, or the same size of university. So we do have, well, the previous webinar, I did go over like the pre-selection process of how we pre-select students. Okay, so like depending on the family and the student's requirements, okay, we're like, okay, we can work for, let's say, fall 2025, or based on what you need to improve and do on your budget, we will have to wait for spring 2026, for example. Okay, so when to start, okay, depends on the factors that I just mentioned. Okay, and some students, we can do the process in 6 months. Okay, some domestic students in 2 months, some international students up to 1 year and a half. Okay, it all depends on your current situation, but before even we start working, we outline everything by contract, on the timelines, maximum budgets that you have to invest and stuff like that. So everything's clear before we start working on the process. Okay. So that's a bit about our timings and process with students and families. Okay. Also, admissions deadlines. Okay. So some students, especially international students, domestic students, are more aware of this. Okay, but I'm still going to mention it to them. But some students are like, yeah, I finished high school in 4 months. When I finish high school, I'll reach out to you. And I'm like, you know that the pre-university process can take 6 months to 1.5 years. Like, and also if let's take, for example, this upcoming semester, okay, fall 2025. If you want to go for fall 2025, there's universities that already closed their admissions process in early decision November or December, okay, and late decision January or sometimes even March. There are those universities that close their admissions process in March, June, even somewhere wait until like July, okay. But if you want to have access, okay, and get accepted to like most of the universities that you are interested in, like we have to start the process earlier on. Like you don't want to wait 4 to 6 months, okay. You want to do it way in advance so we can have time for the exam preparation, university placement, and have access, to be able to apply, okay, to as many universities as we want that fit our profile, okay. So sometimes this misconception of like, okay, yeah, I'm going to finish in 4 months or in a year, I have time, is like, no, you don't. And if you want to do the process properly, again, get bigger scholarships, okay. The earlier you start, the better, because the esports programs, okay, have X amount of budget, okay, that they use for recruiting for fall semester and spring semester. And if you want to go fall semester and you have only a few months left, okay, trust me, the teams might have already be formed, and the scholarship budget that they have is not the same in 2 months in advance that it would have been 1 year in advance, okay. So yeah, we make sure that the student and the families understand, and the decision they take, okay, is based on, like, if they have X amount of budget, we're like, okay, we have to do it in a year in advance, because the recruitment process for this upcoming semester, like, there's no way we can meet that budget, okay. Because, and how we know it, like, we're on daily contact with these sports directors, and they tell us, the recruiting needs, and also like how much budget they can fit for varsity level players, for JV players, and for club level players. Okay, so that's why. So admissions headlines: don't get tricked in international students. Okay, if you want to start for fall 2025, already some universities closed their admissions deadlines in December, November, December, or even, they're closing them now. Okay, so if you're finishing high school this upcoming May, June, okay, don't wait for June to go for next semester, because like we will have to wait for spring 2026 or even fall 2026 in some cases. Okay, domestic students, the process is a bit more smooth and quick. Okay, but I just want to outline this. Okay, so in terms of recruitment timings, okay, first of all, guys, what's this? Like, what are the questions? It's me talking all the time. Okay. I see many people connected, but no questions. I'm gonna say it again. Okay. Well, let's move on. Collegiate esports recruitment timings. Okay. We make sure, okay, that the offers that we lay to the family and the students, okay, are valid for X amount of time, okay, because the recruitment needs, okay, esports directors or head coaches are not going to wait 2 months for someone to decide. Okay, so like when we have the calls, okay, like the student has an X period to decide. Okay, and yeah, if because like sometimes it's for fall 2025 and I'm in November, like I have time. I'm like, no, you don't. And this offer, like if you contact us again in January, it may change and you would have to have a higher budget. Okay, so like uh, recruitment timings do also matter, and the offers that we lay on the table to the families may change based on when they want to start the process. Okay, because the directors are recruiting continuously for every semester. Okay, they're not going to wait for you 1 month or 2 months. Okay, so that's why we have to make sure that we are very like we want to do this, and we are very decisive. So okay, especially for international students if they want to move to another country or to another continent. Okay, and also for domestic students. Okay. Okay, and again, I repeat, any questions, guys? I'm gonna go over what we talked. Okay, so we talked about the placement. Okay, how we work, and the process that we do with the students. Okay, in the university placement. Okay, the admissions process, all the documentation that we need from the students and that we do for the students. Okay, the conversion, translation, bank statements, everything. Okay, the visa process. Okay, like all the steps of the visa process. Okay, we also prepare them for the interviews. Okay, with the U.S. embassy in their country. That's more for international students, of course, and the college support, and again for international students, and why families selected, and all that we do in the college support for the families, and why they continue with us after college. Well, while they're in college, apologies. Yeah, and also we outlined like when is it ideal to start, and I mentioned like basically the parameters of every student. Okay, and that every case is unique, but based on those parameters, it can start in 6 months, in like 6 months in advance, or 1.5 years in advance. Okay, admissions deadlines. Okay, if you want to start for fall 2025, remember there's universities that already closed their admissions process in November 2024, early decision or December 2024. Some do wait until January, March. Some even do wait till June, July. But like you want to have as many options as possible to apply. Okay, when you start the process, and well, kind of same with the quality document timings, and yeah, any questions? So guys, we've been almost half an hour. Well, it's been me talking for half an hour. I hope you guys had a lot of value from this call, and yeah, today you're not very engaging in the comment section, but hey, this is going to be recorded, okay, on social media, X, YouTube, LinkedIn. Okay, so like feel free to watch it again and ask me any questions. Okay, like you can DM me on LinkedIn, you can DM the the team on X. Okay, and yeah, I'll see you next week. Okay, guys, have a great weekend.